Okay, today you're going to learn about the percent of change. You've been doing a lot of stuff with percents and figuring out percents of items. Now we're going to learn about the percent of change. Okay, one way to describe a change in quantities is to use a percent of change. Okay, so when something changes, either goes up or down, we can talk about it in percents. So let me go ahead and write for you. Oops, I don't want to do that. That was a mess, wasn't it? Okay, let's write the definition of the percent of change. Okay, a percent of change is a ratio that compares the change in quantity to the original amount. Okay, that's what it is. So we're either talking about increasing or decreasing something. Okay, so we have two formulas that show either increase or decrease. So we have what's called a percent of increase or a percent of decrease. This is when things go up and this is when things go down. Okay, we have two different formulas for being able to figure out these things. Okay, and what I'm going to do is show you those. I'm going to write them. I think I'm going to write them right next to it. Okay, so when we talk about a percent of increase, we're talking about the amount of increase over the original amount. So for example, if you wanted to buy a car and it was a good price, and then all of a sudden the price went up, that would be a percent of increase, and we would want to know how much the car went up and put it over the original amount, which that will give us the percent of increase. A percent of decrease is pretty common. This is when the price or something goes down, or temperature goes down, anything. And so this would be the amount of the decrease, over the original. Okay? So this could be, you wanted to go and buy, let's say, there's a really cool shirt that you want, and you wanted to buy it, but it was just too expensive, and you really couldn't justify buying it, or your mom couldn't justify buying it. But then you see that, hey, they're having a sale, and everything is 40% off. Now you might be able to justify it because there's a percent of decrease. Let's go and do a couple examples. Okay, so let's say we have 30 inches, and we change that to 24 inches. What happens? Okay, what's going on here? Okay, so we have 30 inches, and it's now 24 inches. Does it sound like a percent of increase or a percent of decrease? To me, it seems like it's going down. Okay, so it's a percent of decrease. So we want to write here the original, or the percent of decrease. We want to put the amount of the decrease. So that will be the original minus the new. Okay, so 30 minus 24 over the original amount, which is 30. And then we get 6 over 30. Okay, we now need to turn that into a percent, okay, because otherwise it doesn't give us a percent. So hopefully you remember how to change it into a percent. We will divide and then to make it into a decimal. 6 divided by 30 equals 0.2, okay, which then becomes, we change that into a percent, 1, 2, add our percent sign, it's a 20% increase. Okay, or I'm sorry, I just wrote that as a 20% decrease. The inches went down, 20% decrease. Okay, how about this one? 20.5 meters to 30.5 meters. Okay, so let's go. This is a percent of increase, so we want to put the new amount minus the old amount. Okay, so we're going to do the amount of increase, which is 35.5 minus 20.5, over the original amount, which is 20.5. Okay, we're going to subtract 35.5 minus 20.5, and that equals 15 over 20.5. Divide that. That equals 0.73. I'm rounding it to the nearest hundred. So that is a 73% increase. Okay, let's do a couple more. $15.60 to $11.70. This is a percentage of decrease because the price is going down. So we want to subtract $15.60 minus $11.70 and then divide it by the original. And the original is $15.60. Okay, so we subtract first $15.60 minus $11.70. That's 3.9 over the original $15.60. We divide 3.9 divided by 15.6, and we get 0.25, which is 25%. So it's a 25% decrease. The price has gone down. And then how about 125 centimeters to 87.5 centimeters? That's also a percentage of decrease. So we have 125 minus 87.5 over the original, which is 125. 125 minus 87.5 is 37.5 over 125 equals 0.3, which is 30%. So there's a 30% decrease. Okay. Let's do a couple more examples. All right, I want to show you also a checklist that I loaded into my website that will help you. Okay, let's go ahead and go to that page. Okay, this is a checklist. Okay, this is going to help you to determine what's going on with these percentages of change. So first, you want to look at the problem and determine, is it a percent of increase or a percent of decrease? Subtract the two amounts, so you can subtract original minus new, or new minus original, okay, depending on what it is that you're doing. Okay, so new minus original is a percent of increase. Original minus new is a percentage of decrease. Divide by the original amount, okay, and then simplify. Then after you simplify, you write it as a percent. This is where you will move decimal two places, to the right. And then you can write your answer in sentence form. The percent of increase of blank is blank. Okay, so let's use that to help us with another example. Okay, so I'm going to add that in. I'm going to add another one of those. And we're going to do